Hi, it's Alison here from the Group Hug, and today I'm speaking to Sarah Swain about her business, which is Cohesive Living, which is all about making sure that your living space fits in with your lifestyle and I guess makes you feel positive and happy, like that lovely cushion in the background, Sarah. So how did your business start, Sarah?
It actually started when I broke my arm,
Oh,
which sounds a bit strange, but I've got a background in psychology and also interior design. And when I broke my arm, it was a real moment of, oh, hang on, do you know what? I'm ready to get back out there. I've been a mum, full-time mum for a while. And I was like, do I go down a design route? Do I go down a coaching route? And then I actually realized I could blend the two. And as I sat there on my, recovering with a broken arm, I was like, yeah, our environment, our home space has such a massive impact on us that the design and the relationship is really interactive and two-dimensional. So I thought, yes, actually, if we could look at home in the context of the wider picture of someone's life, then that's where I could blend both my skill sets and make a real difference to people.
And I remember one of our first conversations we had when we first met, and you were telling me about a gentleman that you'd been dealing with who was divorced or getting divorced, and wanted to make his home into sort of a more friendly space for his children. So I just wanted to ask you about that today, and sort of hints and tips that you might give men.
Yeah, I think the one thing I'm very aware of, and I love to work with people at some point of transition, because when there's some transition or a life change, whether it's a positive one or one that's perhaps slightly sort of sadder or more negative in the first place, our home take on almost like a heightened significance. So for this dad, they'd sold the family home and he downsized into somewhere a lot smaller. But he was very, very determined that it was going to be somewhere that his sons wanted to spend time. That was their home as well. It wasn't just, somewhere they went from time to time. That was a home for them too. But it was almost like, where do I start with that? Because I think it's completely wrong to say that women tend to take the charge of the interior design in the home, but in this case he'd been quite happy previously to let his wife make those choices. So part of the process of working with him was actually to helping him rediscover the choices that he didn't, or the style he didn't realize he had, and actually tucking into, no, it's okay, you can like that, that's okay, we'll work with that, what do you love? But also we also started by looking at where the space was at a start, because, as I say, that relationship between home and our well-being is so interactive that actually we can get clues from our home about what's going on for us in the bigger picture of our life. So one of the first things we did was sort of consolidate work into one room, so that then the other rooms could take on the identity of whether it was a social space or the dining space or a play space where play games with his son. So yeah, it's always like going right back, really carrying it back. Where are we right now? What's it telling me? And then that's the sort of the emotional side of it. Okay, I can let go of that bit, or okay, I hadn't thought about that, I'll just process that a little bit, and then you start to move forward. And so it was kind of getting the flow and the feel of the house first before we even started talking about colours or wallpapers and things like that.
And did he live there for a while before you met with him, or did he? You were sort of
yes, yeah, he'd actually rented the property for a while and then bought it. So so it was at that point it was like, now it's mine. Yeah. And how can I make it mine? And I know I need to sort some things out. He'd got lots of stuff, and he did a brilliant job of clearing stuff out, actually, and allowing himself to go, oh no, what will I invest in? There are some key pieces. I've got a budget, but I need to, I'll invest that sensibly. you know, I might buy a couple of nice pieces and really enjoy those. Because one thing I'm very conscious of is when people are working with a budget, I would never want someone to be uncomfortable, you know, and force their hand into sort of going beyond that budget. But sometimes there are things that are worth investing in, and the feeling of actually getting a nice quality sofa or something, it kind of adds to, because it's like, yeah, I will go and sit down there and we will sit here, it's very comfy, and we'll chat, you know, whether it's with the family members, or whether it's actually having friends around and being a bit more social. You know, you're creating a space that the benefits go beyond that little bit of extra expenditure that they might have wanted to invest in it.
The boys get involved as well. So how do you think going through that process and affected, you know, after you've long gone, how do you feel that sort of impacted on his life after divorce, I guess?
That's a good question. I would like to think that it's made his life easier from the point of view of the everyday going about his business. You know, the house has more purpose. Everything is where it is on purpose, not just because it happened to land there when they moved in. But one thing we talked a lot about was feeling happy when he walked into the house. What makes him smile? And he had some really great quite not flamboyant, that was the wrong word, but a real kind of individualistic tastes on certain things, and we went with those. So for example, it's got fantastic wallpaper when you walk in, just in a little area, and it was sort of related to something he loves, and the idea is there that when he walks in the house, he immediately smiles, he's happy to be there. And I hope ultimately that will be one of the main takeaways, that it's a place that he feels happy walking into as much as everybody else feels happy. And also it sets the tone, you know, for having friends around and things like that. It's like, yeah, no, this is my place, this is my identity, this is who I am now, and I'm proud of it. So I hope he's carrying that forward.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah, for speaking to us today, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you on other topics around people moving home and, you know, making their surroundings fabulous after maybe it doesn't have to be just about divorce, but maybe, you know, if they're bereaved or anything like that. So thank you. Yeah, no, you're right. It's taking a bit of time to reflect on the space around you and how it can support you, and nourish that next chapter is a really powerful thing to do. And there are lots of situations where just taking that moment can really sort of have bigger impacts going forward for people. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Okay.